Hi, everyone. Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage with this week's live business leadership in 15 minutes. I do these every week on Tuesdays, really to have business owners and leaders get a little bit of experience of coaching, what it's like. And I come up with topics that are current. These are either topics that I'm discussing with clients or speaking at local events or industry events, and people are asking me to speak on these topics. So that's what keeps it, real and current, trending, right? What's going on and what people are dealing with today. And the goal is for you to be able to maybe shift your perspective or your vantage, if you will, on a topic, and then be able to walk away with one action item that you can go in and you can implement. So let's get started. This week's topic is local business and industry relationships. And I have to start off by saying relationships have been huge for my husband and I when it comes to our businesses. They have been a game changer. And relationships is definitely a long term way of looking at things. It's definitely a strategic move here, but it's just so rewarding. So I wanted to share with you what happened. This week, I was really reminded of the relationships, the many relationships that Tony and Tony's my husband and business partner, we have, with other local businesses and even within our industry. So when we started our automotive repair shop in 1999, what happened was we actually reached out to local businesses in the area. We were new to that area, being business owners, so we wanted to reach out. And some connected right away, and others really weren't too sure of, this new business and its owners. So they were a little bit reluctant, right? Which could be understandable. So what happened was we thought about it when people were reluctant. And the thing was, is we weren't trying to pitch our services or we weren't trying to sell. What we were really trying to do was get to know them, learn about them, and learn about their business to see if there was a way that we could help each other, because we were brand new in business and we figured that it was an opportunity to learn and share. So what happened was, it, you know, what happened was some people, we thought it was a good way to do this because, business ownership can be lonely. It could even be isolating at times, right? And many people, whether it's your family or your friends, if you're a business owner or you're a leader in a business, they don't really understand what it's like to have those kinds of responsibilities. So it can be a challenge, right? Because they don't understand the type of challenges that we face. So it can feel a little bit lonely. And we approached people not because we thought, we knew it all. The idea was we wanted to learn and share. So that's really how that, kind of came about. And here's the thing. We realized that there were ways that we could help them. The longer we were into this and the more that we tried reaching out to people, because we realized that we were providing a service that they weren't, right? So it wasn't like it was a competition. They were doing one thing and we were doing something else. And even if they were in the automotive space, we specialized, we had a specialty, and they were doing other types of work. So that was a good reason that a good way to help each other and a good reason that we could help one another. The other thing is now by having this relationship, they had a resource to maintain their customers. In other words, their customers, they could position it and say, I know someone for your needs. It's not something that I do, but it's something that I know someone. So now they're not going off on their own and maybe going to someone that maybe didn't have the same standards or wasn't as qualified. You actually had a connection for them. The next thing is the way that we worked, our process kept them focused on what they did best. So, for example, by having us as a resource, they were able to focus on the things that they did in their business, and they were able to be more productive, not taking on something that wasn't in their wheelhouse and then trying that, and their productivity, went down because it's not something that they were familiar with. So that was another good thing that could benefit them as well. And then when you have a relationship, it positions that other business as having connections, local connections or industry connections. And really, this positions them as a professional, right? To customers, to clients. So let me give you a kind of a quick little example of this. Let's just say, for example, that someone hired a person to come in and redo their driveway. They purchased a home, or their driveway was falling apart, and they had someone come in to do that. And in the meantime, they loved the work. They were really happy with how things were going. But in the meantime, they're having a conversation with that person. And they're like, yeah, after we get this driveway done, there's other things that we want to do. We want to get some landscaping done in our yard. We may want to take some trees down. This is how conversations happen. Well, that person that came in to do the driveway may actually be like, well, I have some really great connections. I know people that I've had relationships with for years in those spaces. I know a great landscaper, very, very reputable. I'd be happy to give them, give you their name. And I know a tree person as well, who's great. So now that just positioned that person that came in to do the driveway as a real professional, because they are with like-minded professionals, those connections. So that's just like a quick little example of how that can work for you. So when I talk about going back to Tony and I remember that one business in particular, when we were trying to reach out to local business owners, that owner didn't want to hear from us. Like, Tony reached out several times and George wasn't having any of it, right? There was just no way, until his wife's vehicle had what he thought was a transmission issue. So he took the vehicle to the local dealership and wanted to find out what was going on with the vehicle because he had concerns. What he didn't realize was that the dealership was subletting the work to us. So we ended up with the vehicle. And we ended up talking to George about it because it didn't turn out to be a major transmission problem. It turned out to be a cable repair was all that was needed. And he was so impressed with that he became one of our biggest fans, referring work to us for years to come. I mean, it was just, he was talking to customers about us, introducing us to other businesses that he knew. It was a great relationship. And it developed because over the last 2 decades, when I think of George, he would stop by and say hi often, right? He comes in and shares recipes or health tips, things that he learned that he's putting in and incorporating into his own life. He would share them with us. And then, we would reach out always on holidays or special occasions, which was really nice. And here's the thing is, since all this, George has passed away, but his family still owns this business, and our relationship with them is solid. They are some of the nicest people that you ever want to meet. And it's really built solid because it's built on the shared values and the trust that we've had with each other over these years. Um, and, it's really, really important because when I think about all of the businesses that didn't connect right away, I think there's many reasons why people don't, but I kind of put them into two different buckets. And one was that they were cautious. They were cautious because of relationships that had gone bad for them in the past. And that does happen, right? At some point, a relationship can become one-sided and then it seems inauthentic. to either party. And they're like, it just doesn't feel right anymore. And people could be hesitant to connecting because of that. That could have happened to them in the past. The other one, unfortunately, is some people just don't align with our people first way of doing business because we believe that when you focus on people, the profits will come. If your first point of is thinking profits first, you could be doing that at the expense of people. So we want to focus on the people first, and the profits will come. So the other point that I want to share here is really learning. This was something that we learned about nurturing. There's a lot of power in nurturing the relationships. It's really just as important as building them. Keeping in touch with other local businesses inside and outside of your industry is really powerful. So here's what we've learned by doing this for other people. We've learned that we can incorporate ideas from other industries into our business. And that's really powerful because you're getting new ideas, saying, wait a minute, how can we use that and make it our own? We actually reached out for help and suggestions when we were facing challenges because maybe another business owner, whether it's in your industry or not, has gone through that and figured out a way to make it work for them, got over that challenge. And then the thing also that was so powerful was we didn't feel so misunderstood or alone when we were around other business owners and leaders, right? Managers in other businesses, because they understood. They faced the same things that we did. So we didn't feel alone. And when challenges happen, and they will, they're going to happen as a business owner, as a leader in a business, and you have people that you can reach out to. So I just want to share a quick little story about this. For example, like during COVID, we were considered an essential business. So we did not have to close down and our crew was able to still work, which was really good. And it was good for the team as well. But Tony and I were reaching out and speaking with local businesses to see how they were doing and how their business was weathering all of this because we had a plan in place and we would be willing to share. We figured we could learn and share from others. And we were doing that, to say, hey, here's what we're doing to get through this. So surprisingly, many had said that they were alone. Like nobody reached out to them, not even their suppliers, their vendors, like no one had reached out to them. And we were the only business that really reached out and asked, how they were doing to see. And then during these conversations, they felt much better and said, could you continue to reach out to us? We really enjoy this. So we did. We kept doing that, when COVID had hit. The funny thing is it's just about 2 years later, and they still remember that. They'll still bring it up. So that's why I say, like, this people first approach, building relationships really does work. It really can lead to a business that is profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable. So I'm really curious as to what what you find as your best business nurturing business relationship tip, whether it's building them or nurturing them. I'm curious for someone to put in the comments, whether it's now live or even on the replay, if you were to share what your best tip is, because I think it would be valuable to many. And I encourage you that if you find these lives that I do every week on Tuesdays, if you find them valuable, share them, right? Pay it forward to another business owner that you know, whether they're local, whether they're in your industry or outside of your industry, but pay it forward and share it with someone that you know that would, find it valuable, that they could learn something from it and take it away. So I look forward to next week's training, Business Leadership in 15 Minutes, and I wish you an enjoyable day.